Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, Lon Frazier. Here. Dan Resnick.
Here.
Laws.
Here.
John Beaufort. And Stephanie Burns is absent.
Comments of the public.
We had 5 people sign up. First is Bill Stabler.
I'm here on behalf of Fort Ligonier. Since I'm a township resident and 48 years on the committee, I'd like to comment, perhaps give some clarity on some issues that may come up. And that primarily is why I'm here. Otherwise, I'll just leave it be for the time being. Okay?
All right. Carol Barton. You don't have to.
Okay.
All right. Thomas Stabler.
I'm pretty much the same as my brother. I'm here for clarification more than getting up and talking about it.
All right. Mr. Source.
Thank you. Members of the board, on behalf of Fort Ligonier Days, Inc., one of the things that we would like to address, obviously, is the traffic concern. One of the things that we've been working on with a traffic engineer and consulting firm is trying to approach how we can appropriately coexist with Idlewild and our event. Our event brings probably, I'm going to say from the study that was done by McKenna School of Business and the marketing department, probably brings the merchants about 30% of their yearly income. So one of the things we do want to do is we want to accomplish a continuation of the overall benefit and the overall effect. There's a lot of things that can be done to address traffic concerns. And one of the things that I think should be done is to have a comprehensive plan and have the parties that are important in developing that plan make arrangements so that we can have a productive conversation and have a resolution to this particular issue within a week or so. And I believe that we have those plans in effect to present. Now, one of the things that can be done, obviously, times could be varied for both Idlewild and ourselves in our event. There's additional service and traffic control devices that can be implemented. And also, I remember attending my first Highland Games last year, and there was only one booth that was open to Idlewild, and there was a backup. So from Idlewild's part, we'd like to have a discussion with them and say, hey, look, these are things that we could do to alleviate traffic. These are things that we can suggest for you so as to eliminate these particular problems. Now, the benefit that the community has over Fort Days, we don't want to jeopardize that. But by the same token, I think we can work together to find a solution. And the key question is, there's so many components, we need to talk to one another, and we need to decipher what those plans would be. We've got some ideas. We'd like to have a conversation, and we'd like to go forward and get this resolved as quickly as possible so as to move this thing forward. We're only 3 months away, and when you take a look at it, 3 months is going to go quickly. Just look how fast the summer is gone. So we need to approach those particular aspects as quickly as we possibly can. And on behalf of Fort Days, Inc., thank you for your consideration.
Mr. Jack McDowell. Mr. Olson.
How can I follow that? Never put your name after an attorney. All I'm going to tell you is, this
this event is one of the biggest events of its type anywhere. These events are dinosaurs. They're dying because of various reasons. But we do, believe it or not, as you guys sit here tonight, most of the event is good to go now. So the only thing that took me off, my biggest surprise, was the timing of this event. And as Mark mentioned, we never stop working on safety. We changed things last year. It worked a little better. It was a little safer. You might agree. We changed things the year before. There is never a 4 days where we don't change some things. Most of the time, it's safety driven. Because this world we live in is pretty crazy. We even went so far as to purchase some traffic barriers to prevent cars from driving onto the diamond in the middle of the event. So it's a very busy committee. I have some of my volunteers here today. About 75 of them work very hard. And as I said, we're almost ready to go. So hopefully tonight's just the night of questions and answers or confirming what we already did.
That was everybody who signed up.
Comments of the supervisors, Mr. Beaufort.
I guess I'll hold my comments until we get down to the 4 later days in here. Detour on that. Unless we want to open that up now.
It's later on. Why don't they want to do it later on?
Later on. No comments then at this time.
I have none at this time. I wasn't here.
None at this time.
Okay. I don't have any at this time either as well. So, approval of the minutes from June 10th meeting. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Dan made the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All of you guys like it was a second.
Doesn't matter.
All right. All those in favor, I'll abstain because I was not here.
Aye.
Aye.
Denied. Okay. Approved. Correspondence, Mr. Strelli.
2 things from PennDOT. Unexpected good news. PennDOT says we had a rough winter, which I agree. So it's sending us an extra $5,000 for our winter maintenance agreement. And another unexpected letter from PennDOT, first notification that they're planning to start working on the bridge that they've been working on for 3 months. So sent them the information that they asked for again, and not really new since they've been working on Long Bridge for a few months.
What did I see in there too? The resurfacing Route 30?
Yes, they are. My understanding is they're going from
The blinking light?
the airport to Road Toad, and if they have any additional money, they'll keep going. So I wouldn't expect them to keep going.
Which, both east and west, or?
Yes.
No, the westbound side is horrendous.
Of course, I heard that 3 months ago, so plans may have changed. But last I heard, it was airport to Road Toad and more if funds allowed.
It's on their letter dated June 9th, just said about that. Okay.
Doesn't give the dates either.
That's even now, 30. Yeah.
Oh, they're resurfacing the Long Bridge, of course.
But there's no dates when they're going to do it.
No, they already started.
Well, the bridge, resurfaced.
Oh, no.
I understand the bridge is going to be done before the winter, but the resurfacing. Okay.
This letter could cover anything from resurfacing the bridge to resurfacing Route 30 from here to Lake Road. It's magnificently big. I congratulate the person who wrote it.
In the same letter 1,000 times, probably. Unless there's any other questions?
No, I mean, you're.
Ligonier Beach surveys are in the back of the room next to the agenda, so hopefully everybody in attendance will scan it and fill it out online. My understanding is that between the high school, the middle school, and then people who've already taken advantage of it, we have 500 survey respondents already, which is outstanding, but we'll take more. PSATs, Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors, will be here the evening of Thursday, August 21st for Planning Commission training. All our planning commissioners expressed an interest, and we have 5 people from the borough who are also coming down. So if any supervisors want to take advantage of that, let me know, not necessarily tonight, but before August 21st. Also want to touch on, I took a complaint this week about how the 4:30 meeting time. I know I've said this via email, but I'd like to say it publicly. We are the only township in the area, the only municipality, including boroughs, that meets twice a month. So we're twice as good as any of our neighbors. Now, some of them meet at 7 o'clock, like we do for our first meeting, like the borough does, but not all of them. Derry meets at 5, Unity meets at 4:30, Cook meets at 4, Fairfield meets at 3, and Jenner doesn't advertise when they meet, but with working supervisors, I would guess it's during the day. So just wanted to publicly say what I've individually said to you, each one of you a couple times. That's all I have.
Engineer's report, he's not available tonight.
Yeah, Ben is out. The only thing he would have had to report is updated quantities for the Cary School pedestrian bridge. Is there anything else happening?
So, sir, good luck.
Nothing to report, just work on some code issues for you guys.
Go to the staff report, Rick.
Good afternoon, it's a pleasure to be before the board again today. Just a couple things. I did manage to clear 3 code complaints. They were recent. They were none of our outstanding ones that we've had for a while. And I'm working with Chief down on 259, looking to advance that here in a little while also. If you have any questions, I'll take them.
That house on 259.
Any questions for Rick? Public Works lanes.
I'm pleased to say that grading of the berms is finally done with the inclement weather, which is a lot longer than anticipated, which puts us pretty much a half a month behind on everything. We are starting to move it. We're going to put the cross pipes in, the new ones, updating the old ones, air holes in. Pretty good. From that to start waiting. I had everything done within August. For chip seal, I reached out to Russell Standard. They're going to get back to me on a date. We'll get that date out passed along. We'll have it. We went around the township, did a bunch of cold patching, pretty much everywhere. Get that ahead of that, so we can focus on what we need to. 2 failing cross pipes on the south since the last meeting I was at. We replaced both of those. There's 3 that's been replaced out there, but 2 since last meeting. 1 actually today, which is a 36 round pipe. There's some paving out there, and several other spots throughout the township that visited too. So,
Any new news on the Pentagon?
I would not like to speak about that truck publicly, as I've never seen it. I don't even know if it's real.
So no news.
That's all I have.
Nothing.
We heard it went. Oh no, actually we're not sure. We were told it was going to be start being upfitted in June, which is now. I'm afraid to reach out and confirm that, since it was supposed to be here in November. All right, U.S. Municipal. They sent a whole lot of trucks to King of Prussia to advance us in line. I'm not sure if ours went to King of Prussia or if it's still near, I don't know, their local-ish location.
Passive. It's right up the turnpike there. You can see the lot. It's full.
I'm sure it is.
It's full.
We had much better luck with Keith's truck service. For the truck we ordered, and it got here in 6 weeks, a month.
You know, like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
No, it's a smaller truck, granted, but.
All right, finance, Beverly. Please.
Yes, we have a maintenance report in front of you, if you have any questions. Yeah.
I like
Anybody have any questions for Beverly?
I just want to commend you on doing a great job. It really looks nice and very professional.
Nothing.
Okay. We have the auditor's report for 2024 here, and we have Wessel and Company.
for having us. My name is Megan Friedhoff. I'm a shareholder of Hudson Company, and I represent Tilly, who's a senior in our audit department, works on the audit. So just want to go over your high-level results with you today, and thank you very much, Beverly, for working through your first audit with us and Michael and getting everything completed and ready. So you have the full financial statement there in front of you, but we're going to go from this 2-page document that has our logo on the top and says Financial Executive Summary. So it follows along. The independent auditor's report is an unmodified opinion on a modified cash basis financial statement. That is a clean audit opinion, the highest level of assurance we're able to provide on the statements. And looking very high level at the statement of net position, so we're comparing 24 to 23. Now this is all of your funds combined on this first page. So we're looking at general fund, liquid fuels, and capital projects all together on this page. You have total assets of $2.2 million. That's an increase of about $310,000 from the same period in 23, and that is all cash at year-end. Your net position, the restricted portions, is about $370,000. That's your liquid fuels, of course, restricted by the state, and then capital projects fund is restricted for that use. And then your unrestricted portion is your general fund, and that's at $1.8 million. Your statement of activities, total revenue is at $3.24 million. That's an increase from the prior year, about $224,000, or about 7%. And the bulk of that was you see in the first line here, taxes increased. That's what the millage increased from 5 mil to 6 mil. So we see that effect coming through there. On the expense side, we have total expenses of $2.9 million, an increase of about $400,000 from the prior year. It's about 16% increase there. We had some stormwater grant revenue received and expenses paid, and that's what we see that coming through this year. We have some increases in wages, new position, related taxes and benefits to that, and an overall increase in your health insurance costs, which is, unfortunately what everybody's seeing, but we see that hitting about 26% increase over the prior year. And some increased activities in some other repairs as well, so we see that effect there. So that gives us an overall change in net position, again with all of the funds, of $309,000. So it gives us that ending net position of $2.2. Over on page 2 of this whole packet here, this is breaking everything out by fund. So your general fund has total assets of $1.8 million. Liquid fuels has $225,000. Capital projects has $141,000. We kind of drop down to the bottom of the page. You can see the excess/deficiency line. That's showing your increase or decrease in the current year in that fund. So your general fund had an excess of revenues of $276,000. Liquid fuels was $120,000, and capital projects used funds of $86,000. So that gives again that total fund balance at the end of the year of $2.2 million. Any questions or comments on that? We did, that's really a copy of everything that needs to go to the county, something to be published. If you have any questions or issues, please let me know. Journal entries, I believe that were sent to be put into the system back for last year, so any issues?
Beverly, are you okay with these folks and what they're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make sure that you guys are all on the same page. That's all.
They were very good to work with.
But I'll let you hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for me or comments?
On page 2 of your report, third right. I'm sorry, next page 3. Required supplementary information. Management has omitted management discussion and analysis. How serious is this omission? And is it routine?
It's somewhat routine. It's just something that's never been done. I have municipalities that do it and some that don't. It is kind of just a nice summary that goes in the front that Michael and Beverly would prepare. But it's not an issue that it's not in there.
So your company's opinion on the soundness of the audit results is not affected by this explanation?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's basically a summary of the financial statements in the front that management puts in. If there's anything that you want to discuss about activities, economic factors, things going on that could go in there. And it's certainly something that could be addressed in the future. I don't think the townships ever have that in there, but it's not an issue.
No, that's just not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Treasurer's report. Presented in our first meeting.
Yeah, that'd be the first meeting of the month when you get your fund balances and status of investments.
And approval of the bill pay list. I guess I'll read that since Stephanie's not here. In front of you, you have two different, the general and the other one's each.
Yes, right.
General is for $207,986.83, and the beach fund is $2,094.27. Can I get a motion to pay the bills? Or actually, get any questions on those?
So moved. Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pay the bills.
Mr. Russell, can we also get a motion to accept the auditor's report?
Oh, sure. Can I get a motion to accept Westall and Company's auditor report?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Sorry about that. Scan. All right. So we have unfinished business.
Right, the zoning ordinance, again, no vote tonight because we have the public hearing July 8th, which will be the next meeting. There was a question at the last meeting regarding retaining wall setbacks. Because the language in the retaining wall says side and rear, and hey, what about the front? Well, the front setback is handled elsewhere in the code for, is it accessory dwellings or is it just everything?
Retaining wall shall be required to meet the height and setback requirements of accessory structures as established in this chapter.
Which would cover the front yard. Unless there's any other questions about zoning ordinance? And if there are, of course, you can ask them at the next meeting.
We'll move on to new business, Fort Ligonier Days detour.
Pat, you want to handle that or you want me to give an intro first?
If you want to give an intro, you can.
All right, Fort Ligonier Days came to us a week or two ago asking for the same detour as in previous years. That detour worked great in 2020 when Iowa was closed. It has not worked great the last couple of years. So I would recommend not approving it. If I could speak for some other folks, that'd be my recommendation, Idlewild's recommendation. You have a letter in your packet, emergency management coordinator who's going to speak in a moment, and the fire chief of Darlington, because it's in Darlington's area. And there's, I'm sure, a lot of people in the public who can answer questions, but you let our emergency management coordinator add a little more context.
Well, the request for the detour is 259 and 30 from the 4 days committee, borough, I understand, to vendors in Mount Park. And stopping traffic for the foot traffic across the South Walnut Street during 4 days. The current detour was set up, I believe, during COVID when Iowa Park was closed. This is running traffic down West Main Street from the intersection of Walnut Street to Route 30. And due to traffic only being able to turn right at the blinking light, forces the crossover from 30 westbound to the east at the Route 259 crossover. This is in turn for PennDOT and Fort Ligonier Days Traffic Management Company to create a one-lane closure to Route 30 east back past Idlewild entrance and backing up traffic in the, that was attempting to enter Idlewild and a hazard when Idlewild traffic attempted to leave in the evening at Route 259. It was attempted last year to try to have only the traffic use the main exit of the park, which caused internal issues and further problems for Idlewild. Traffic turned back into Unity Township into Route 217 intersection at the Kingston Dam during daylight hours. Our recommendation as emergency management coordinators is to deny this portion of the detour due to several factors. First, in the event of having to evacuate Idlewild for any number of reasons, the detour and potential traffic backup right at the entrance and exit gates of the park prohibits the efficiency of getting vehicles out of the park. Evacuation planning was set forth and came together by myself as emergency management coordinator, Darlington Volunteer Fire Company chief officers, Ligonier Police Chief Matrix and Sergeant First Burrell, along with park officials, and the need to keep that as open as possible is crucial to that planning of evacuation if needed. Having the access to and shorten the backup on Route 30 west to Route 259 corridor open, to have the Route 259 corridor open is also crucial to emergency response throughout the township. Many of our mutual aid units will be coming from Unity, Derry, Township of Borough, Latrobe, and possibly beyond. If a large emergency event were to occur and the need for those units to respond, they would utilize Route 259, then to Springer Road, and then on the Peoples Road to get to the northern parts of the township, and avoid the traffic backups and also disruption around the festival. In addition to that, if the event were to occur in the festival itself, and traffic on Route 30 is gridlocked, which does occur in those same fire units along with EMS and police could also utilize Route 259 if they need to get to the borough. That was discussed in planning with Ligonier Borough's emergency management coordinator, Ron Ross. Adding to that, Idlewild is one, if not the largest tax contributor and employer in the township, and affording their request should be the township's priority. Replacing a traffic restriction in front of the township's largest draw of traffic. While in contacting meetings with Zach Pfeiffer, the manager of the park, concerning the detour outside the township, outside of township officials, his last contact with traffic managers from Fort Ligonier days and the festival started solving potential issues was in March. And have not heard back from them either by email or by phone, and that was confirmed as I spoke with him this afternoon. If there's another option other than in front of Idlewild, ideas are welcome, but for planning and hazard mitigation, it's not advised to continue to be for there.
Questions? Questions for
Chief Matrix, do you have anything that, are you planning on speaking to this matter tonight as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
the facts are quick there. I mean,
Okay, I just want to make sure you had an opportunity. I don't want to steal your comment. What's the current status of the discussions between Idlewild and Fort
I can speak to that. Unfortunately, Idlewild has changed management, and unfortunately, we haven't received any concrete evidence as to what their concerns are. Part of the problem here is we hear some of the concerns as emergency management McDonald had mentioned, and Chief McDonald's dad will bring up, but we haven't found anything.
Mark, may I say something? I'm no longer chief.
Okay, well, sorry, we'll give you credit.
Okay.
Chief Emeritus. So, but under the circumstances, we need to find a way to work so that this makes the whole process happen. There's many ways to deny things, but there's only one way to work together to make things happen. And unfortunately, I've not heard a solution to this particular problem. Idlewild being one of the largest contributors towards the budget, yes, but let's take a look at what Fort Page does for the community. Let's not ignore that. If we have all the booths open, or 16 booths at Idlewild, if all the booths are open, that in itself might be a way of mitigating backup. And we're not going to have the backups that we do today if they have all of those booths open and all of those people.
Mr. Swayze, have you seen this letter from Idlewild? Is it the supervisor's packet? Sent out to whom it may concern?
I have, I've heard about that, but I've not seen the actual letter. There's a question whether or not it predates the new owners, because we've had complaints from the previous owners. We've not had any interaction with the new owner, and the new owners, I believe, may be more receptive to work together with us.
To clarify that, the management team in Idlewild has not changed, just the ownership. Zach Pfeiffer was the manager post-Dollywood, per se, or pre-Dollywood and post-Dollywood. His position has not changed.
Well, we look forward to at least having a conversation because we haven't heard any response from them.
Let me ask you, when does this have to be decided?
Well, the PennDOT needs approval of a permit. We're going to have this in October.
Okay, I talked to Idlewild also, and of course the letter that John had mentioned, they want to meet. And if you have a couple other ideas,
sure.
Fort Ligonier Days has other ideas, their executive or their manager is on vacation, I was told. He's going to be back next week.
Okay.
If we set something up through the supervisors with Fort Ligonier days and Idlewild
Sure.
next week.
Anytime,
Now,
any
the
place.
decision we make here is not going to be the best decision.
Right.
One way or the other, it's a mess. But I think we owe everybody at least to sit down and try to work something out. As you mentioned,
I think that would be a best solution. We're able to meet and coordinate anytime, whether it's.
Does that work with your path? I mean, we could try to sit down with them.
You gonna be around next week?
I can be around.
I mean, you're not going on vacation?
Oh, yeah, I'll be in town.
Okay.
I can't understand Idlewild going on vacation this time of the year, but that's what.
So,
How about the traffic engineer versus
Three, four
days?
Sure, we can make arrangements.
for your information, this letter from Idlewild expresses something that should be of great concern to the supervisors of Ligonier Township, and that is that when the festival and the park are closing at approximately the same time, which is 6 p.m., there's a traffic hazard on 30 West with all of the traffic leaving Idlewild Park, crossing the two eastbound lanes of 30, and then trying to get into the westbound traffic at 30.
One possible alleviation is to stagger the times, so that Idlewild could close earlier and 4 days later, or 4 days earlier and Idlewild later, so you don't have like a drain that only is capable of handling so much liquid.
I think that's a great idea to discuss with Idlewild. This letter suggests PennDOT, well, it suggests to me that PennDOT needs to be involved in your conversation early, because they suggest closing one of the westbound lanes of Route 30 to provide preferential access for people exiting Idlewild onto Route 30 West. Having driven that route many times myself, when Idlewild is emptying out, without Fort Dix being involved, I can say that might be an outstanding idea for everyone to consider. This letter raises a very serious safety hazard. I personally would like to hear has been addressed. I know the Fort Dix Committee is very concerned about safety, and always has been, but I'd also like to know that somebody has consulted PennDOT on this idea of closing one of the westbound lanes for some portion of the day. I'm not suggesting that anybody's been less than diligent about doing this. I'm just saying that it really would comfort me greatly if we could hear that this has been thoroughly discussed.
We do have a traffic engineer, and as the chief had mentioned, I think the need for a resolution to this problem is to have all the parties speaking with one another so that we're able to comprehensively resolve this particular issue. Again, I believe it can be resolved for the simple fact that just arbitrarily saying that you shouldn't do something doesn't necessarily mean the problem is going to go away. One of the things that Idlewild could easily do is to let us know, hey, what could they do to accommodate? For only 2 days. Idlewild is in business. They have Hollow and they have every weekend up and through Halloween. We're only 2 days. So with regard to 2 days that the Fort Dix brings to the community is immeasurable because the businesses and the variety.
I've enjoyed all 3 days of the festival.
When you say you have a traffic engineer.
Idlewild isn't open on Friday.
Who has? You saying the Fort Ligonier Days Committee has an employee traffic engineer? I just want to make that okay.
We do.
And who is that person?
Road safety.
So I say.
Road safety.
Yes.
So he wanted to come tonight, his lawyer wouldn't let him.
Well, I think the biggest thing is getting all parties put together and coming up with an agreeable plan, and then present that in front of the board, hopefully by next meeting, which is in 2 weeks.
Just for the record, a couple of things I heard that aren't quite square. We tried without success to meet with Idlewild when these problems started to boil out. They would not we should have. We don't know, we can't react in the dark. We went to a meeting not too long ago and was presented a letter from Iowa that was 2 months old. Our engineer is currently trying to reach Iowa right now to set something up. They are better.
Somebody needs a new email or a new phone number because they told me today, Jack, they have been contacted since morning.
I'll tell you what, this seems to be an ongoing item that happens in Ligonier. This person doesn't talk to this person blames that person. It's just, this isn't the only.
I know that. So
But I think we could get this meeting put together. We'll have Pat had some very good points that we have to take care of. And next meeting, hopefully we'll have something to present.
And I think PennDOT's got 5 emails on their desk about possible improvements that I think we can make this year. I have them right here if you want to see them. They don't answer. PennDOT's government answers what I ask to. So some of what you're asking us to do, we're doing.
Do you think Representative Rossi would be able to help us get PennDOT to at least respond?
Wouldn't hurt.
I just want to respond to John as far as, our plan, because of, we did get a call down there about the traffic exiting that last year, come through 901. So our plan is coming up here that we already discussed is, just so you're aware that we're looking ahead, regardless of the matter, of trying to alleviate the traffic on the exit time. I'm just stressing what you had mentioned about closing that. We often on bad weather events and so forth, we go to the park and we dump the traffic out of the park. Stop them both east and westbound, get it out, have officers there. That's our plan this coming up here for 4 days. We haven't really done that in the past. It just seems like, last year events, it's just going to create, we will, kind of adapt where we need to adapt. Whether this actually detour goes, it doesn't, we're going to adapt, okay? So, but as far as the exit go for the park, we already have scheduled plans to send officers down there to assist with the exit that day. And that hasn't been put out there at all. I just want to, just kind of direct what you were saying about exiting to be safe. That's our plan at this point. We've done in the past. We'll have enough officers down there and handle that exit just for that moment.
Just for the record, I don't know if you've heard, but we have fireworks this year. We deliberately scheduled the fireworks at 7 o'clock and delay our egress to be after Idaho.
Is that on Saturday, Jack?
Yeah. So, and that's sort of a litmus test to whether or not messing with times can help us, but we're going to try it. We're going to hold them an hour past our normal stop time. That should give Iowa another hour to clear the deck down. And unless they're not doing something efficiently, which I question sometimes, I hear they only have 2 or 3 booths open to allow people in and out of 15, whatever there are. So
There has been times of that, and when we were there this past weekend, they did have everything stuff. Okay, my experience with that, we get called down there anytime it gets backed up, going out the exit, going up the highway. We are there every time that happens. Our goal is we go down to make sure how many booths they have up and open, justify their actions and what we're doing and what they're doing. I so note that, and also let the management know, hey, you need more booths up. Usually they comply if they have the personnel, but this last Saturday, even Friday and Saturday, they were, Friday for sure, I was down there, I was a little late on a call, getting there on Saturday, but they had all the booths open, they were still backed up. They actually were backed up Saturday to the construction zone road 2, and that's what's with most of the booths. When I was there, they did have traffic control, getting 2 lanes going down into the ramp into the park, and dispersing all the traffic in front of all the booths to try to pull all the traffic off as tight as they can to get in front of those booths to help alleviate our issue. But it does happen. But there has been times, whether they expect it, I don't know. There has been times the booths were limited and actually numbers at that point, which we do address with them. So there are times it does happen, times it doesn't. And I have no clue when that's going to occur, how that's going to occur. So just, that's my experience. I just want to pass that on what we currently do right now, just for general days vote.
Mr. Strong, do you want to coordinate getting a meeting date and time for next week? The emails from the important people that need to be there?
Do my best, but like, Ms. Rupert found out that head Idlewild guy is currently not there.
He's there next week.
I just talked to Zach, the manager. As far as I knew, he was working with us.
Tim Hager, the general manager.
I don't want to leave
I think
this
Zach's
meeting
the
without
operations
getting something
guy.
established here as far as the date and time for this meeting and who's going to be there.
If we have to, we'll get down and knock on some doors.
What do you guys file it? You guys, 4 linear days, Michael, Pat, Michael, and then the supervisors, the one and Michael.
Still want the board to heavily consider though our emergency management issues and emergency response around the township.
Yeah.
That's priority.
Yeah.
I mean, if we gotta pump that park out, heaven forbid we have to do that. I just, it makes it tough.
Mr. McDowell, who would be the initial, Mr. Jack McDowell, who would be the initial contact person so that you can disseminate them? Would that be you
We're
or?
already bothered, Mike, he can continue to bother me. So.
Okay, so that's the primary contact for Ligonier Days, and we'll get Pat and Chief Petrunich. Yeah. Pat, you're gonna take care of getting a hold of Idlewild?
We can do that.
See if we can reach out to Leslie.
It's all right, I know some people find out.
All right, so we're gonna table that till the next meeting and we can see what we can.
We're gonna lock you guys in a room and you're not allowed out
Yeah.
until you come up with a solution that everybody can just be a little bit pissed off about, but can live with. That's the best negotiation that I've ever heard.
We'll table that till next meeting and then we look forward to hearing what the group can put together that hopefully makes everybody somewhat happy.
One more thing. Time is of the essence.
Well, you said next week.
I know. If your motion passes, the next thing we're gonna have to do is pull the plug on court days. We cannot function without a detour.
Jack, let me ask you a question. If it's decided that we're going to open up Idlewild, the other exit's going to have to open up in front of John Nichols, does that mean you close down Fort Ligonier Days because of that?
Possibility, yeah.
Yeah, there's more to what the township controls than I will. We've got signs out on.
Well, the signs, I mean, but you're saying if we open up Idlewild, you guys got to open up the exit in front of John Nichols, but you close it down because of that?
Well, that's up to Mike and Pendle. We just can't open it, but if you want to, the traffic is, and these.
What did you say? We do not cross traffic coming from this last year with this new detour, which there was miles put in, was to eliminate the traffic going through Walnut Street out to the light, because of obviously the crossing over all the pedestrians. That was one of the main issues. Like I said, this detour didn't work. I don't say it worked great. So there has been no traffic from there down to the light. That's where we're currently operating.
I realize Pat's trying to protect the future as he should, but tell me the last time you've heard of an accident during Fort Ligonier Days in the last 60 years, whatever it's been. Never happened, I'll tell you. Traffic is a fact of life for 4 days. For 4 days.
You just changed it.
I know.
Traffic isn't real life of Iowa, I know it's like.
Yeah, and, no, what you saw this weekend with Iowa.
What about the We had a wreck out on Cary School Road with I think 2 or 3 entrapment going for Ligonier Days. So I mean, there's been wrecks. One thing I'll say about that intersection down there at 259, we were coming down there, I was in the right-hand lane, went to make the turn to go up 259, and here come a guy down between the cones and almost hit me. You know, I mean, That setup down there sucks. Pardon my French.
And even to the extent if Walnut Street's not an option, if we're able to talk to PennDOT to allow, which I don't know if this is a good idea, allow crossover at West Main Street at the blinking light. I know you're not allowed to now with the barrier that's there, with the curb barrier, but that could possibly be the other option.
And you know what the option was last year that PennDOT turned out? That blinking light, the lights, temporary red light. So they turned it down, they said they're too close together. There isn't much we haven't looked at in the 4 days world. We're always trying to find a better way, but we did focus on that.
Other than
shut it down.
I understand the foot traffic on South Walnut, but what is that? That's what's holding up sending cars down South Walnut is the foot traffic going into Mellon Park?
Yes.
Yeah, it would be unsafe if you had cars going through there. The amount of people that cross from Mellon Park to the high school to the school district.
And there's no way to move those vendors out of there to anywhere else.
Not unless you can create a field somewhere. No. And those vendors are the heart of this event. They do it free.
I'll let you guys discuss that, and see when we come back to the township, next meeting with recommendations.
I would like to caution the group when you do meet them. If you throw it down like, well, if we don't get this, then we're just going to cancel Fort Ligonier days. That's BS. It's not going to happen. Do not use it. That's not good negotiations. That's not good negotiations. Find an agreement that you can all live with. Don't start this, well, we're just going to shut Fort Ligonier days down. That's not realistic. So, work together. I think we have enough people that have intelligence, care about the community. You'll find a good solution. Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, we're going to move on to Fort Ligonier Days temporary signage.
Well, don't see any issues with it. Either approve it or hold it for the more controversial 4 days.
There's nothing conflicting with that and the thing, right? It's advertising.
Right.
Can I get a motion to approve the temporary 4-day signage?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next we go to resolution 2025-R-06, new tractor with mower. That's
Well, might answer questions, but really, I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to specifics. The 5-year capital plan, we expected to spend $182,000 next year for a new tractor with mower. We want to stick with that plan and get a new tractor next year. We should order about that. The bid in front of you says 8 months to delivery, dump on sale within 6 months to a year. So got these quotes a couple months ago, but I've been holding it, so we didn't spend 2025 on it.
okay. Anybody have any questions for us?
The one bid was for what? Let's see, 141,335. The other one, 171,410. The lower bid was rejected. What is it about the Kubota M5091, this Rain King 60-inch rotary head that causes rejection?
The 21-foot boom is what causes it to be dismissed that way. We have a large boom on our current tractor, and on our narrower roads, it's all you can do to be still near the pavement and get something better. So it's too much tractor for the width of our road. The 21-foot stick is for like mowing along 219 or turnpike or something where you can reach up on the bank of the dog. We need something that's a little bit shorter so we can more maneuverable for us.
So what is the length of the boom on the tractor that's recommended?
18.
And all of these vendors were co-stars.
Yes.
Yes.
Are you looking at New Jersey? I asked. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you feel is best?
I actually tried to reach out to Wes at Cherry Hill and see if we could put this tractor with this boom mower. It would better fit what I would like to see. And they said they can't do it because the way they fab them for the attachment, there's no, they have to refabricate something and have it made to do it that way.
How many times this year has that tractor broken down? You don't want to get into higher.
This past week or this year?
Yeah, so let's get rid of it, you know.
I wouldn't mind keeping it as a spare for a while and see how this goes.
Here's the biggest thing that I want to make sure that we can to buy something that is overkill. Because this one has just been haphazardly put together and it's just been a nightmare.
The Terra King is Alamo's top of the line.
Okay.
It's the more rugged version. So.
And the Kubota tractor you feel is going to be the best heavy duty tractor?
I think Kubota makes a good tractor, very good tractor. So.
I'm happy to move the adoption of this resolution.
Okay. Can I get a motion for 2025-R-06 for the purchase of the new tractor in Kubota?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right,
Dan, to answer your question, I keep it on spreadsheets, everything. Really, I could print one of those out for you.
I'm happy with your explanation, I just wanted to discuss it.
Something's cracked, something's broke, something's welded, something's beat.
The only people that are not happy are the guys that sell welding rods.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is that tractor's creeping on 10,000 hours. Most diesels tractors are on 10,000 hours. You should rip the engine out and have it.
Well, I recommend we should keep a backup because, like you said, tough, like right now, spring mowing season, 2 tractors would be really nice.
Catch up with another guy, help pave and crossings or put the pipes in or run the other piece of equipment. Speed things up like that.
Yeah, and it doesn't cost the same. We're not going to get anything out of the tractor. Right. What it will sell for $5,000, $10,000 probably.
Yeah. All right, that no trim, nobody wants to know the trim. Boom out is the tractor itself. Took that Frankenstein off of the minor sheets on something to think about.
They knew the history, they didn't want to. All right. Next we have the Historical and Archive Records Care Grant Application.
Yeah, there's a state grant currently available for up to $5,000. Doesn't require any match to help archive historical records around the state, including especially municipalities. So I thought this, well, Beverly did the work for it, but I thought this would be a good opportunity to continue the digitization of the old zoning files.
Can I get a motion to apply for the grant? Right?
I'll make a motion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I have a comment on this, it's very well written and prepared, thank you.
Next we have Ligonier Valley High School pedestrian bridge fee application for SBCEASA grant.
Right, so this is a federal grant that would route through, not the state, but the state commission, Southwest Pennsylvania Commission. I should tell you what the acronyms are. Southwest Planning Commission Transportation Alternative Set-Aside Program. So this would be for additional funding for the Ligonier High School pedestrian project, the Terry School Bridge. It was great that we got $587,000 for it, but the estimate was $1.2 million, and costs are not coming down. Don't necessarily have high hopes for this grant, but I think would be really useful if we go to foundations in the private sector to show that we tried everything we could and turned over every couch cushion. So there's 2 steps for this. Assuming they give the thumbs up to our pre-application, we'll be back because the next step will require engineering and quite a bit more work. So this is the easy part, as you can tell, there's not much to it.
Well, we get a motion to apply for the SBC TASA grant.
Make a motion.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Opposed?
We have contacted some other grant people, just some other foundations, and have positive feedback from some of them. We'll see what we have.
We need an executive session.
Not that I can say.
Comments from the public?
Just when you guys are talking about Iowa, something to consider. I almost saw a multi-car accident because somebody was coming down 30 and decided they needed to be in Iowa. The traffic was already backed up. So they have a problem. It's not just work days that maybe you should address with them as the emergency person and you guys as supervisors, because it's not the first time we've lost you. It's bad.
Yeah. Any other comments from the public?
One thing, anybody traveling westbound on Route 30, right past Clark Harbor Road, the road buckled. I'm going out through this morning at 5 o'clock and it's heaved up about 3 or 4 inches. I called 911 to get a hold of PennDOT, tell them the road's buckled out here. PennDOT's solution, I come back through this morning, by 11 o'clock, there's an orange cone there. So, if you're going down 30, be careful.
Yeah, which direction? Because I'm going down 30.
Westbound.
Okay.
Westbound, right after, you know where Clark Harbor Road's at?
Yeah.
Okay, right after you pass Clark Harbor Road, it's.
Those lanes?
I was in the right lane. I think it was, but I'm not sure.
If I may, one of my favorite signs in town is by the PennDOT shed on Springer Road. There's a dip in the road. Someone complained about that years ago. Their solution was to put up a sign that says dip instead of fixing the problem.
They have one on that hall, too.
They put up a sign? That's, yeah.
Well,
They had letters to that.
Sorry.
if I could say what I've always wanted to say on TV when I was fire chief, the difference between PennDOT and the Boy Scouts have adult leadership.
All right. Comments from the supervisors. Mr. Gopher.
Nothing.
Sure.
Yeah, who's going to take the lead on getting this group together for a meeting? Mr. Stralik, would that be you?
Chippy, you, Pat, since you're already talking to Iowa.
I can.
Would that be you then? Okay.
I can.
Please convey anything and everything.
Well, we'll talk. I'm not going to leave you hanging.
It may take a little prodding. You're big enough to knock the door down.
I'm not bending on where I stand, what I said. I don't want our priority.
We just want to have a meeting. We just want to get that meeting.
Should we get that letter to Mark Soros, or you want me to send it to him tomorrow? Got a lot better. It's got an email address. What is that?
That's all I have.
Mr. Frazier?
No, nothing additional, thank you.
I have nothing at this time as well.
Motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.
Hey.